All right, so two important things about the AWS buckets can be found in your permissions. So you've already named your bucket. When you name the bucket, you go here, create bucket, and you got to pick a unique name because some of these can be public. Anyway, I name mine YouTube clone tutorial, YTC tutorial. Then in your permissions tab, you're going to want to configure your bucket policy. Now I've copied and pasted a generic policy very similar to mine. You just have to plug in this ARN in a couple spots. Here /wildcard and here regular. And a lot of this is mumbo jumbo, but basically it allows this S3 put object method to be called. It just means putting something in the bucket, really. So I've got to copy that in the README. And your course configuration as well. It's an XML document, which I've also put into the README. And you want to allow an origin, which is your URL. And that's for post, put, and delete. And then allow everyone to get, because we want everyone to be able to view stuff from the bucket. And like I said, both of these are available in the README. You just have to plug in your information. And we create this. You don't have to create this video folder. You can if you want. You don't have to. So back to the app. In our upload.js, we're going to bring in GQL from graphical tag, GraphQL and Compose from React Apollo, and Axios from Axios. You have to cd into the client directory and run npm install -save Axios. Axios is just something that we can use to make HTTP calls. Now let's see, I did change a couple things. Okay, up in the container, I changed flex direction to column and justify content to space around, and I added in a line item center. And we added a file, which is null, and progress of 0 to our upload component state. Let's see, down here in our drop zone, we added ondrop, this.ondrop. This is built-in prop. And we're saying file is this.state.file. So if we have a file, we're going to render the file name inside the box, and we're going to render a button, which on click calls handle upload. So on drop, all that does is, since we don't have multiple to true, we're just taking one file at a time. We're just taking the first file of an array. And handle upload is an async function where we get the file, and we're going to get the file name from file.name, but we're going to format it. We're going to get the type, and the format function is right here. It's just taking the date, getting the month, the day, and the year, and knocking the file name down to lowercase, and replacing any spaces or weird characters with a dash. And then it's going to return the videos. That's where we make the folder, and the date dash the file name. And this kind of removes any chance of duplicate file names. And it goes on to await. Instead of mutate, we have two mutations. These are our mutations which we just made in our schema and our resolvers for. You see, this takes the input, this takes the file name and file type. But since we have two mutations, we can't use this .mutate. We give them a name. So instead of mutate, they take on this name from the options object. And we have two of them. It's easier to use compose. It's just simple setup like this. So upon the upload, we're going to say the response. We're going to await the signature, put in our variables, file name and file type, and we're going to request URL that we send to S3, and our video URL, which we're going to look our video up later with, is response.data.s3 sign, and then we're going to call this to upload to S3 with the file and the request URL. And upload to S3 is another async function that takes in the file and the request URL. And we set some options for Axios here. We set the content type to the file.type, and we do this on upload progress. That's part of Axios. It tracks the upload progress. We haven't done anything with it in the file yet, in the component, but we have it here. We could console log. We could console log this while I show you the test here. Okay, progress complete. There's a progress event. Oh no, progress completed. Oh, percent completed. Whoops. So it takes it and gives us a number between 0 and 100. That's why we set our initial progress to 0. But we're not doing anything with it in the UI just yet. But we can do a progress bar and other graphics with it later. And then the last thing is await Axios.put, and we send in the request URL and the file and our options object. Now everything configured just so. We have our S3 bucket configured to accept put request from us. I believe this content type needs to be there or we get an error. Why don't we just show it? Run npm start. Oh, maybe I didn't save it first. Gotta save it. For the time being, I did take the private route off of upload. Only did that because then I don't have to sign in every time I test it. Just take it off, make it a regular route, and then restore it to a private route when I'm done testing. Well, here's our React app. And we'll bring up the console so we can see that progress event. So you can click on this or drag and drop to it. It takes a while longer because I'm on a Chromebook and using a lot of RAM to do the screencast here. Let's see, just like one of these, I'm up to 22 videos. This is 23, I believe, we're making right now. So click that, and now our upload button pops up, and the name of the file pops up. I'll click upload and see if we get that console log. There's our console log. And as you can see, this make for a great progress bar because we're constantly getting this set to state. But our upload is working. That's a good sign. So in our next step, we've only done half of it. We still haven't saved our URL or any of our other information to the database yet. We're just saving it to the bucket. But this is the big part that takes all the configuration. You have to get those credentials right. You got to get your bucket policy and course policy right. And get all that code right. There's quite a bit to it, so there we go. In our videos, there's a video right there. And all right, this video we're gonna keep going with our JSON. That's our last video right there. So next we're gonna start working on this screen here where you can add all the extra information to your video just like YouTube. All right, we'll see you in the next one. Laters.